Gospel and homily for the 33rd Sunday in Ordinary Time, Year A. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus spoke this parable to his disciples. The kingdom of heaven is like a man on his way abroad, who summoned his servants and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to a third 1, each in proportion to his ability. Then he set out. The man who had received 5 talents promptly went and traded with them and made 5 more. The man who had received 2 made 2 more in the same way. But the man who had received 1 went off and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. Now a long time after, the master of those servants came back and went through his accounts with them. The man who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 more. Sir, he said, you entrusted me with 5 talents. Here are 5 more that I have made. His master said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You have shown you can be faithful in small things. I will entrust you with greater. Come and join in your master's happiness. Next, the man with the 2 talents came forward. Sir, he said, you entrusted me with 2 talents. Here are 2 more that I have made. The master said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You have shown you can be faithful in small things. I will entrust you with greater. Come and join in your master's happiness. Last came forward the man who had the 1 talent. Sir, said he, I had heard you were a hard man, reaping where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered. So I was afraid, and I went off and hid your talent in the ground. Here it is, it was yours, you have it back. But his master answered him, you wicked and lazy servant. So you knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered. Well then, you should have deposited my money with the bankers, and on my return I would have recovered my capital with interest. So now, take the talent from him and give it to the man who has 5 talents. For to everyone who has will be given more, and he will have more than enough. But from the man who has not, even what he has will be taken away. As for this good-for-nothing servant, throw him out into the dark, where there will be weeping and grinding of teeth. The Gospel of the Lord. It was extolled by the songwriters of the Beat generation. It was glamorised in films like Easy Rider. It was the in thing among the hippies of the 60s generation. A guitar, a motorbike, an open road, a couple riding into the sunset. It was a dropout's paradise. The thing which it extolled would seem to me none other than the old-fashioned sin of sloth, a member of the group known as the 7 Deadly. It may be last on the list, but it's by no means the least. Some people blame others for their lack of opportunity or openings in their lives. But when the Gospel said, search and you shall find, might that not refer to the world of work as much as anything else? Hal Roach, the Irish comedian, in one of his one-liners talks about this work-shy Dublin chap who thought that manual labour was the Spanish ambassador. The devil finds work for idle hands, they say. In today's gospel, wickedness and laziness go hand in hand. Those who sidestep work often reap where they did not sow. Children who shirk work or chores around the house are often given everything on a plate without having to work for any of it, may grow up thinking that the world owes them something. They're in for a rude awakening. Having said that, work is not the be-all and end-all of life. Work was made for man, not man for work. Even God rested after he created the world in 7 days. It was once fondly thought that modern technology, by shortening working hours, would leave us free to explore other talents in our arsenal. Evidence suggests, however, that most of us, when we're free, we prefer to do nothing. The old Protestant ethic has a lot going for it. Being glued to our smartphones all day can lead to indiscipline, laziness, and irresponsible living. Of course, we might be inclined to let ourselves off the hook and say we're always on the go, but could that be just chasing our tail, fritting our time away on idle pursuits? Indolence often finds its home in illusion and in a fantasy world far from reality. Psychologists tell us that most of us use only a fraction of our potential. Some beat a hasty retreat from anything which might exploit their potential in other fields. They couldn't be bothered. Work is good for man, and we should take pride in it. The talents which God has given us are not meant to lie fallow, as we heard in today's gospel. Some people, however, mistakenly equate being talented with gifts of the intellect, a high IQ. I remember a boy in our class at home who struggled with reading and writing, but when he left school at 14, he could strip down a tractor engine in double quick time, put it back together again without any manual of instructions. We were amazed at his knowledge of engines in general, without ever formally learning to be a mechanic. Innate talents like his come in all shapes and sizes, and we should use them. We should also affirm each other in our work and encourage people to use the gifts that God has blessed them with. No one needs stand empty-handed before the Lord on that final day of reckoning. Thank you all now for listening, and God bless you all.